And I really look forward to this course. This course really, by teaching the course, I can really, focus on the area of my research, which is subject of my first book on Shanghai urban culture. So we're going to read through modern Shanghai, the cultural history of modern Shanghai from 19th century through today. We'll examine different media, literature, and visual arts, film, to really see how Shanghai representing the modern modern China, the modernity, the Chinese modernity as embodied in different cultural media. Yes.
Yeah, that sounds exciting. What motivates you to teach?
I think I consider myself both as a teacher and a learner and a researcher. So I think it's a passion for knowledge, it's a passion for continuous, non-stop, permanent, continuous learning. That motivates me to teach. In a classroom, when I teach my students, I think I'm not only their senior, their teacher, their mentor, but in a certain way I'm also their peer, in that I'm also a continuous learner. I think that's the ultimate motivation of my for my teaching. It's passion for knowledge, passion to consider the growth in any person's knowledge is part of part of our growth, part of our being, part of our existence. It never stops. Thank you. Well, I taught I taught 7 years in a Chinese university, Guangzhou University. That's my first teaching job. And then when I was doing my PhD in US, I taught at two SUNY colleges, one SUNY Binghamton, the other SUNY Newport, as well as Liberal Arts College, Hobart, William Smith colleges. So that's three I taught when I was a PhD here. And after that, I taught at University of Manchester in England, and very briefly MIT, and before I came here at UVU. So that's what college. Yeah, I'm just learning. Yeah, this is my first semester, and of course the subject, Humanities, is also a new subject for me. Students are quite different. They're quite big mix. There's traditional students and non-traditional students. I have quite a few students like married. They have kids to take care of. So I understand them. They have many things going on in their life, and that situation is rather new. I have never seen a similar situation in those other colleges. Otherwise, I think they're quite comparable. Of course, students in England and China, different colleges, the structure will be quite different, but also in many ways comparable. So other than that, overall, I still think there's more similarities than difference. Yeah, I think the city is these most comprehensive combination of all the media in which we live, in which we act, in which we work. I think that we can. I think that we do, that can be called a cultural product because it's created by human being. I think that the city as a form of art, as a form of a culture product, that really inspired me to research, to teach, and to learn, and to live as well. So I think teaching, learning is part of my life too. Well, it's not a single city. I mean, go back to my history. It's quite a series of cities, different cities lived through. Purely the cultural difference. I taught in China, taught and lived in China, England, and here, always in the cities. And so, is this the combination? I mean, the difference. The different cities, everywhere I go, I feel different culture in that particular space. And even in a single city, there are also people from a different culture. And I think this multiculturalism, this inclusiveness, this not only people from different culture, but also different media combined. In a city, you have sound, you have architecture, you have posters, pictures, you have billboard. All this combined, you reflect on, and people write about city. when you go home, you still look at film. The film is actually about the city, so you can never, get away from the city, if you will. So it's that experience that being particular to me. I think, particularly for myself, is this I live in a city that's different from my own culture. That especially inspired me to learn and to teach, because by living in a city, that is transnational, that's cross-cultural, that as a product, as a cultural product, different from my native culture, uh, including like Salt Lake City where I live now, that inspired me to learn. And that particular aspect, what I mean, the the cultural inclusiveness that inspires me to. Thank you.
That's exciting. That's cool. Because of all the options, all the perspectives that are
Yes.
available.
Yes, but also particularly, it's my personal answer to the question. In particular, I want to focus that because my specialty is architectural history. The built environment means a lot to me because my research is about architecture. But you never can separate architecture from the city. So that's really I feel actually everywhere I when I live in the city, I also feel I'm learning about it, I'm research about that. Eventually, I'll write about it. So in that part, by life and learning and work, kind of all come together in this kind of space we call it, the city.
Do you think you'll ever end up writing about Salt Lake?
Yes, not the time being. Now I'm a China expert, so I'm more writing about Chinese city, but a level beyond, I think I'll write about Chinatowns in America. After that, I will think, maybe a comparison between all the city I have been. Maybe compare, Salt Lake City with Chinese city. Yeah, well, the so-called Chinese economic miracle. Uh, there's many cities like that. I talk about Shenzhen. You think about Shanghai. In 19th century, actually, this will be covered in my spring course because in early 19th century, it was a very small county. You probably just have, something like tens of thousands of people resident there. But in a matter of 3 or 4 decades, when become a foreign settlement, it become a metropolis of several meaning. So in 19th century, that happened in China too. So that's quite contemporary to Salt Lake City.
Yeah, same time period. Yeah.
But probably for different reason.
Yes,
here
of
is the
course.
pioneers settle here, the church. But in Shanghai, it's purely kind of colonial trade, commerce. But but in terms of the pace of growth, it's comparable. Well, for my research, I mean, in terms of theory, I'm very much influenced by Walt Benjamin, his approach to modernity, and his take on Marxism as well. Strangely, the way I think the way I grew up in China, but the way I learn a bit more about left-wing academics scholarship in the West, in the U.S., is after I left China. So anyway, what Benjamin is representing that social, interpretation of arts and modernity, I think that influenced me very much. As a person still living, I think the book series editor I work with, he really pushed me to think about something. He is Professor Mark Selton, and he generously read my draft and offer me a very insightful comments and pushed me to think more. I think that I would think he's really influential to me. Yeah, the key point is really to think history not as a pre-given picture. History is not a beautiful picture. History is messy. Is a junkyard. Basically people go to the junkyard, pick up parts of want to reconstruct a beautiful picture. That's what conventional history is. By learning from Benjamin, realize history is junkyards. There's many fragments from the past, but just focus on these fragments to treat this, not to try to construct a true or beautiful picture out of these fragments, but really focus on these fragments, to see these fragments, to redeem those fragments. Use his word, redeem in the sense, redeem it as a force of criticism, to criticize so-called modernity, the grand, beautiful picture about which we have always been told. We have been told there's a picture, there's progress. I think Benjamin just honestly pointed out that there's an illusion, and by going back to history, look at some fragments discarded by history, you can resist that beautiful picture.